Welcome back to the Excel U podcast. We have a great guest today, Jamie Blaesing. Jamie, thanks for coming on, man.
Yep, thank you for having me.
So maybe just to kind of let our listeners get to know you a little bit better, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came into what you do today.
Okay. So born and raised in Quincy. Went to St. Peter's, QND, and then on to QU.
Okay.
Played baseball over at QU.
Did you really? I
yeah.
didn't know that. Okay.
Yep. But back in the day, that's been a long time ago. But anyway.
A couple years.
So while there, I studied athletic training and physical therapy.
Yep.
But I was fortunate enough I got to play baseball for a few summers after college, so went and did that.
Mm-hmm.
By the time all that got done, didn't really want to go back to school for to get the PT degree and all that. So decided to give the family business a try. Something
Good.
Growing up. My dad's been in the shoe business since the 70s, so I grew up around it.
Yeah.
Worked part-time, high school, college and that, but never really thought of it as kind of what I wanted to do one day, and then
Sure.
try a few other things and realize, hey, it's not as bad. So been at Carl's Shoes now for since 2002 full-time.
Okay.
And really glad it worked out that way. So like I said,
Yeah.
wasn't what I thought when I growing up, but very happy that it worked out. And my dad's done a great job of growing the business over the years, and just kind of happy to keep that going.
He has, yeah. You guys have, I got a quick story
Okay.
to share with you. When I was a kid, I'm from Carthage, we would come down to Carl's Shoes. And at that time, I'm not sure if you still do this, but you would give little kids like suckers. And I was always so excited to come to Quincy and Carl's Shoes, I get a sucker, And then you, at that time, again, this was 20, almost 30 years ago, you guys, I think, might have been at a different location, if I recall correctly. I'm not sure when you moved to the current location, but you were on downtown at one point, I think, and then you were also
in the mall for a long time.
That's
Yep.
where it was at.
Yep.
That's where it was at. So Carl's Shoes has been a staple here in the Quincy community for quite some time. How do you help people here in the community? Obviously, it's footwear. We know that at its most basic element, but in your own words, how do you feel that the client experience is different there, and how do you help people?
Yeah, so Carl's has definitely kind of evolved over the years,
Sure.
which is great. You got to do that. But one of the things that stayed constant and will always stay constant is we take pride in offering our customers great service.
Yeah.
So kind of one of our mottos is, we have better products, better service, and I think most people appreciate that.
Yeah.
We get some customers, and fortunately for some people, they don't have foot problems. They can come in, they're just going to buy more on looks and style, and that's fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But we do get a lot of customers that walk through the door with sore feet or sore knees or sore back, and sometimes they come in on their own. Sometimes they've been down to the physical therapist or the podiatrist or the chiropractor, and we get a lot of referrals. We work well with the medical community in that.
Yeah.
I would say most of us have had foot pain or problems at some point in our life, and
Right.
it's not much fun. So I do sympathize when people come in, and so I take pride in trying to help people. They come in with sore feet, don't have the magic cure, can't make them walk out the door and everything's fixed, but getting them on their way to having, pain-free and back to normal and that.
Well, and I can maybe expand on that a little bit too, just the fact that we've worked with you very well over the years to say this patient has plantar fasciitis and they need this kind of shoe, or we'll sometimes consult with you and say, hey, what are your thoughts here? We've obviously had you here in the clinic too to talk to our staff about the opportunities that you guys have from a footwear standpoint. I'm actually wearing your product right now.
Thank you.
I've got that on right now. So that was kind of my next question: is how can you help people say that they're an Excel physical therapy patient? I think I've kind of already answered that a little bit, but what's the most common thing that you see, like when you work with us or a podiatrist? What is one of the more common things that you guys see?
So the way I kind of look at it is, it's kind of a team approach.
Yeah.
Between us, the medical community, and then the customer, the patient, all together, we each have our own little part we do. So, hopefully when they come into Carl's Shoes, we're going to get them in the right type of footwear that'll help ease their pain and get them back to normal. Doing, the therapy, the treatment and that when they come down here, that's part of the equation. And then obviously as a customer, the patient, there's stuff you got to do at home on a daily basis. Because it's not just, hey, I went down and did exercises one time at the PT, that's not going to cure it. Or, hey, I just got new shoes, that's just not going to cure it. I mean, they all help, right? But if we do them all together, that's really giving someone the best chance to succeed and put them in a better spot.
And there's been times when some people have come to us for therapy. I'd like to think this doesn't happen very often, but there's different arrows in the quiver, so to say, that we sometimes have to pull out.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's been the footwear that's been the thing that's gotten them over the hurdle, so to say, to get them back to what they want to do. And to me, that's the ultimate goal, is whether it's they want to walk 10 miles a day or if they want to chase around the grandkids, whatever the reason is, like there's probably a shoe that can help them accomplish those things, right? So let me ask this. There's kind of a movement going on right now, at least I've heard of it, that where less is more. There's kind of like a minimalist approach where some people recommend, whether it's from a training perspective or just from a life perspective, don't wear shoes.
Yeah.
Have you kind of heard of that? Like, have you come across that when people have come in?
To a certain degree, yes. And there's definitely, benefits of it. With that minimalist movement, they're trying to work on strengthening the muscles of the feet and that, which, hey, that's a great concept. They're trying to work on enhancing someone's balance. Wonderful idea.
Right.
The problem is trying to implement that into everyday life for a lot of people. So 5, 6, 7 years ago when it first came out, people would come in, they'd want to buy a minimalist shoe, then they think that, hey, they're going to go out and walk 10 miles or jog 5 miles from day one. And you see a lot of problems and a lot of injuries that happen with that. So it definitely fits a portion. I like the concept of doing the zero drop or minimal heel to toe drop in a shoe. But I like being able to stack it under something. So I don't necessarily like just a straight minimalist shoe. There are shoes that offer that lower heel drop, but you still get some substance underneath there. Now, if someone wants to do some training, whether it's at home or they're going downstairs to Excel or even here in the clinic and do some barefoot training to work on stuff, that's wonderful. But you just kind of got to be careful how you're doing it, how you're implementing it. The other part that kind of, if we lived somewhere where, hey, we could walk on sand every day or on the beach, or you could do grass all the time. Well, most of where we're at, it's in concrete. You don't want to walk around barefoot, or typically I don't think you should. So yes, doing some sort of that minimalist is good, but I still like the concept of having a supportive shoe underneath your foot. I think that helps.
The end goal is good, right? It's we want a stronger, base. We want a stronger, foot, arch, all that. That's all good, but there might be a better way to do it. And that's not saying that, look, there's probably some people out there we could find that have had really good results and success, but they're probably a rare breed. They're probably doing some other training on top of that helps them prepare for that.
Yep. And so real quick too, so the whole training aspect, so a lot of times when people come in and we're down here at the clinic, it's, hey, we've had an injury or hurting, and we're happy to help with that. But part of our goal is too to get people to be more, instead of being reactive, try to be more preventative. Hey, okay, so now I got the right shoes, I'm doing these right exercises, I've been through all the pain, let's get ourselves to a point where maybe it doesn't happen as often, I'm not getting injured as often.
Exactly.
And there again, I think footwear plays a big part in that. So
100%. Again, we've seen that here in the clinic, and you guys have been gracious enough, not only now but in the past, you've actually left some different shoe models here with us, and sometimes our patients will try those out. It's not always the right size. They have to come in for you for customization that way, or maybe a different model. But one of the things that's impressed me, my wife and I were in there just, I forget how many months ago. We bought like 3 or 4 pair of shoes. It was time. But the customization that went on, when we were in there for probably, we had a little boy with us, so it was longer than what it probably should have been, 45 minutes to an hour. But the customization that you guys provided was really unique. I hadn't been there in a long time because I lived out of state. So I want to give you guys a plug from that perspective, that it is a unique experience and you're going to get the right fit. And correct me if I'm wrong, but if you don't have it, you're probably either going to order or you're going to find the way to get it for them, right?
No.
That was one part that I go to a big chain store and I go and I look for the one that I like, and that's about all I do. What size do you need, sir? That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's a different experience, and I think people need that custom approach, especially when they have conditions or impairments going on.
Yeah.
So.
No, I definitely agree with that, and I appreciate you saying that, and that's one of the things kind of going back to, hey, we try to have better products and better service, because you can have the best shoe out there, but it might not be the right shoe for your foot. So your friend might say, hey, it works for them, so hey, you go buy it. Well, there's different, some people have lower arches, some people have higher arches, some people have this going on or that going on, that the shoes might look the same on the top, but you got to know what's going on underneath the shoes, what you're getting out of them in terms of stability, support, cushioning, and that does vary from person to person. So we try our best to get it right. Obviously, like I said, I wish I had that magic cure that, hey, wear these and tomorrow everything's perfect. It doesn't
Right.
quite work that way because with our feet, we're on them a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
it takes a little bit longer to them to heal up than maybe another body part.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I said, everyone does their part. We're trying to get them in the right shoes. You guys are trying to do the right therapy, give them the
Mm-hmm.
right exercise to do at home, and hopefully
Right.
that gets them on the road to recovery. So
Right. Just as we start to wrap up here, what do you see either consistently or maybe not quite as consistent? What's a common misconception about footwear? Maybe we've already revealed some of those today, but what's something that you like? No, that's not quite right. Like what's something that you see or hear quite a bit? You're like, no, let's correct that.
yeah, so a little bit goes back to what I kind of just had said about some people might go in and they might buy on looks or, hey,
Yeah.
this worked for my friend. And that's fine. Hey, I want to try it at least, but that might not be the right shoe for them. So
Mm-hmm.
you can get 3 or 4 shoes that all look the same, but they have different concept of what they're meant for. Some, like I said before, some people have higher arches, lower arches. Some people need a little more support. Some people need a little bit more cushioning.
Mm-hmm.
So making sure you get the right shoe for your foot. The other thing, I'm probably a little guilty of this too. We try to wear our shoes. I want to get the most out of my shoes, right? In a lot of products.
long.
So, but even your better shoes, they do wear down and break down and wear out over
Yeah.
the course of time and that. So they're again trying to maybe get them a little bit before. Hey, my feet have been hurting. I probably should have got these a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just get them a little sooner and kind of work them into the rotation a little bit.
I'm glad you said that. That was actually a question I meant to put, that I wanted to ask you was, what's a common time frame? And I know this is a generic answer. Everybody's got to have a different answer, a different situation. But every 3 months, every 6 months, what do you
Yeah.
typically see?
And you're right. So there's some variables in there depending on activity, how heavy maybe a heel striker someone is. So I would say if it's someone's using for like activity type shoe,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere probably in that 6 to 8 month range.
Yeah.
Some people say like, hey, if you're running, you can get 3 to maybe 4 or 500 miles out of them. So if people are tracking their
steps,
mileage and steps in that could be a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Certain ones like let's say we do really well at the Dance Go line. That's a good
Yeah.
work type shoe. Those are going to last a little longer because they're a little more support. So
Mm-hmm.
if a shoe's got a little more support and not quite that soft, cushy, bendable, those support ones are going to last a little longer. Cushioning does tend to break down a little quicker. So, I mean, we're not just trying to, hey, you got to come in every 3 months and buy a new shoe. Usually try to look at the bottom when the tread wears down.
Yeah.
Usually
Yeah.
you're going to see a little bit more on the heel, a little more on the ball of the foot. That's a good sign that the support of the shoe started to go down. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, somewhere in that 6 month to a year, I would say, for an athletic type shoe.
Yeah. That was one cool thing. I'm just remembering my experience just recently was you're almost kind of like a crime scene investigator.
Yeah.
You're looking at the shoe and it's like, okay, how does this guy walk? And I'm pigeon-toed. I mean, I'm bow-legged as can be. And so I'm obviously going to have more wear and tear on the lateral side typically of my shoes than most people will. But you're kind of an investigator. You're trying to figure out what kind of foot am I working with and what's going to be the best fit. Where do you see this going? Like, where do you see footwear, this industry going? I mean, again, I'm kind of going back to a previous question where we have online sales now. Amazon's a big one. All these different providers, you can get almost anything from your phone now. How has it changed for you over the years since 2000, I think early 2000s?
Yep. So I would definitely say, yeah, the online shopping, it's not just shoes, it's everything. People are buying everything. Right. Fortunately for us, we got a great loyal customer base. Mm-hmm. Now that's not to say there's not some people that still buy their shoes online, which is fine. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times, especially with footwear, most people want to try them on, compare different styles. Mm-hmm. I can probably get through the day if my shirt doesn't fit quite right. But if you have shoes that don't fit quite right or it's not the right shoe, that can make a pretty big difference. So, but just in general, the online shopping, I mean, I'm just a person, I try to buy it local.
Yep.
Now, that said, I don't occasionally buy something online, but that's usually after I've exhausted trying to find it in town and
Sure.
can't. So I kind of believe in supporting the people within your community, that's going to better your community. But yeah, the online shopping is definitely something that has changed.
Yeah.
Down the road, you're seeing a couple brands that we carry. They're starting to offer maybe like a foot scanning device, which I think would be something kind of cool.
Yeah.
So down the road, maybe that might be something that kind of has evolved a little bit on it.
Yeah.
But
at the end of the day, unless human anatomy changes, we're always going to need you guys, right? I mean, that at the end, yeah, maybe the experience changes. You guys have obviously had to shift your model at times, as you mentioned, before. But I think the more that we get online and the more that we, I guess I'll say, unplug from each other, I think actually, at least for me, I crave the personal experience even more. And I think, I don't know if you've noticed that, I've noticed that in here in our clinic, is that especially after COVID, people wanted to be around people again. And I think at our core, we're meant to be with other people, and so I don't think that will ever go away. It'll ebb and flow, obviously, in seasons and everything. But now you guys have been a big staple here in the community for a long time. I did want to mention one last thing. You have a friend there in the store at all times, if I'm not mistaken. And I was not aware of this. And even better, this friend's name is Riley.
Yes.
Right? But Riley is a dog. So I'm not sure what that says about me, but
Riley is our golden retriever.
Yeah.
He, I would say he's probably the boss. He kind of runs the show. He's there most of the time, but when he's not, it is kind of disappointing for customers, and they come in and he's not there. So, I mean,
man.
Yeah. But no, it's just kind of another.
It's unique.
It's great. It's great having him around. I mean, obviously, I'm a golden retriever fan. I've got one myself. But yeah, it's just kind of nice to have him there and makes the day go by. Yeah, experience, yes.
My little boy, he's 1 year old, and I can tell you for a fact that was the highlight of that trip for him.
Yeah.
Okay, he got to see Riley, and not Dad Riley, but the dog Riley.
Yes.
So, give yourself a plug. Address, phone number. How do people get in touch with you guys over there?
Okay. Yep. So it's Carl's Shoes. We're at 2827 Broadway here in Quincy. Phone number 217-224-7136. We do have a website. It's carlshoesquincy.com. We don't really sell online. It just kind of shows what we have.
Sure.
Kind of to your point real quick, I still a little more old school. I still like the personal interaction and that, so I'd rather have someone come in and talk. We don't take anybody's business for granted, but we're trying to earn their business, earn their trust over the years. And I think being able to come in, try on shoes, talk with them, and that definitely helps. But yeah, we're always more than happy to do the best we can and try to get them back to having feet that feel good.
Yeah, well, I think again, it's these small and mid-sized businesses, especially in a town like this. It kind of keeps us going. Again, you guys have been here for a long time, and I'm looking forward to the next 30, 40, 50 years, however long the good Lord gives us. So
Yes.
Thanks for coming on today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, John, that was...
Yeah, that work all right now?
Okay. That might have been the...